You live in a neighborhood where despair is piled higher than the crumbling rooftops. Around here, people don't live, they just try not to die. Home is a shack with a corrugated tin roof that you share with your mom and your little sister. Your old man, he's gone. Collateral damage in a gang war he didn't even have a ticket for. That leaves mom as the only thing keeping the walls from caving in. To make sure you and your sister have a shot at a future, she grinds 20 hours a day until she's running on empty. You're the star student. You're hitting the books with one goal, becoming a politician. Not for the power, but to fix this broken system and finally give your family the dignity they deserve. But the universe has a twisted sense of humor. Out of nowhere, mom gets hit with a major illness. The local clinic doc says she needs surgery, and she needs it yesterday. The price tag, 5,000 pesos. Now to some suit in the rich part of town, 5,000 pesos is what he drops on a bottle of wine on a random Tuesday. But to you, that number is astronomical. It's an unreachable fortune. It's the absolute wall between life and a funeral. You try to hit up the neighbors for a loan, but in this zip code, trying to get cash is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. Everyone's broke, and the few who aren't don't trust a 14-year-old kid with a dime. So you drop out of school and start humping crates at the central market. Your spine is screaming under a load that weighs more than you do. At the end of the day, they hand you a measly 100 pesos. You rush home dying to show mom the cash, only to find her out cold. Her clock is ticking. You beg your boss for an advance, but he laughs in your face. In his world, empathy is just a bad investment. In total desperation, you spot a flyer on a lamppost. Instant cash. No credit. No questions. It's your only move. You head to the address, a smoke-filled back room. The loan shark flashes a shark-tooth grin and offers the 5,000 pesos, with a 50% weekly interest rate. You read the fine print of the verbal contract. No house for collateral? No problem. They'll just take your biological assets. If you don't pay, they collect a kidney or a cornea. The good news? They let you choose which one you want to keep. You sign your soul over to the devil. You pay for the surgery. The docs do their thing, but mom's body just quits. She dies that same night. But grief is a luxury the poor can't afford. Before you can even cry, the first payment is due. You're short. The collectors don't offer condolences. They offer a beatdown that leaves you spitting teeth. Then comes the ultimatum. You have 1 week to pay the principal plus interest, or they take your little sister as final payment to be sold into a human trafficking ring. Just when you're about to sell your soul to the lowest bidder, a stranger slides up with a job offer. No resume required, no references needed. All he wants is someone small, fast, and flat out desperate for cash. 1 week's pay is enough to clear your debt with the Shylocks. Since you've lived here your whole life, you know exactly what the job is: smuggling gear across the border. If you're lucky, you get paid. If you're not, you end up as an anonymous skeleton in the desert. You tell yourself the oldest lie in the criminal handbook, just this once. In theory, the gig is simple. You're a mule. The operations manager takes you to the mouth of a hidden cave. The hole is so tight that only a malnourished 14-year-old could squeeze through. For the first time in your life, hunger actually gives you a competitive advantage in the labor market. They strap a backpack to you. Your mission: crawl through the pitch black, following a trail of marked rocks. You pop out on the other side of the border. There's a surveillance tower looming in the distance. You creep through the brush, paralyzed with fear. Every twig that snaps sounds like a 12-gauge blast in your ear. You trek 3 miles until you find a specific dead tree. That's the drop-off point. You dump the package and vanish. No one sees you. No one greets you. You're a logistics ghost. The gig turns out to be suspiciously easy. For 7 days, you're dodging border patrol like a pro, thanks to your size and street smarts. You stack the cash. You clear the debt. The Shylocks bounce and your sister is safe. You're feeling like the protagonist of a gritty action flick. Full of pride and relief, you head over to the middleman to put in your 2 weeks' notice. You tell him it was a pleasure doing business, but you're going back to the straight and narrow. You honestly think this is just a summer job, or like driving for DoorDash, where you can just hit end shift and log off whenever you feel like it. But the recruiter gives you this fatherly smile that absolutely chills your bones. He pulls out a phone and shows you a pic from this morning, your sister walking into school, smiling totally clueless. He calmly explains the organization's HR policy. See, in this industry, there's no such thing as voluntary resignation. So, you've got talent, kid. And wasting talent is a fireable offense. Literally. You know too much now. The roots, the faces, the system. You're not a temp anymore. You're a fixed asset on the company's balance sheet. The new job offer is simple and non-negotiable. Keep working for them indefinitely, or your sister has a tragic accident on her way home. That's when the reality check hits harder than a freight train. You realize your success didn't buy your freedom. If anything, you just proved you're too profitable to be free. You paid off the debt, but you just signed a lifetime contract with your own blood. Turns out there's no unsubscribe button in hell. 3 months later, the cave route collapses both metaphorically and literally. The feds busted during some other kid's shift. He ends up in juvie. You survive by pure statistical luck. Management notices you've got something the other crash test dummies lack: a brain. They decide you're too valuable to spend your life crawling through the dirt like a beetle. You get promoted. You get a burner phone, a strategic vantage point, and a shiny new corporate title. You're now a Falcon. Your job is to be the cartel's eyes and ears. For your average street kid, this is boring work. But you're not average. You apply the same focus that earned you straight A's in school. You map out federal patrol patterns, you spot unmarked cars by the specific wear on their tires, and you build alert codes that no one else can crack. Your efficiency skyrockets by 200%. The local plaza boss calls you in personally. He hands you a fat cash bonus and says 3 magic words: "Good job, son." Those words hit you harder than any street drug ever could. Since your mom passed, no one has told you you're worth a damn. No one has looked at you with respect. Suddenly, the blood money is buying your sister clean sneakers and putting hot meals on the table. You start to rationalize the hustle. You tell yourself you're a provider, a protector, a legit businessman. The fear evaporates, replaced by something way more toxic: pride. You're starting to love the game. It all goes down on a stormy night. The rival crew decides to launch a hostile takeover of your turf using high-caliber lead instead of high-priced lawyers.